Recently, I turned 29 years, and according to Bing, I am almost halfway through my lifespan. That is just in case I do not have an accident, disease, or any other thing that has appeared in the show, 1000 Ways to Die. Or I should just probably switch to Google Chrome instead. Anyway, after reading the article about having only half of my life left, my demons started to talk to me. You know that voice at the back of your head. I call mine a demon, cause whenever he talks, it is never something good. Sometimes, demon tells me to end my life. Sometimes he tells me how much of a disappointment I am. Sometimes he tells me to not repent my sins because I am too dirty in God's eyes. Yeah, I know he tells you too. He or she is in all of us. To me, every day seems like a countdown to the 30s, and the feeling that I haven't accomplished anything big follows me daily. It makes me feel that I should not dream big and be more satisfied with what I can get, because I am not that young anymore, although I feel like I am. And hey, the pandemic stole 2 years from me. Or at least that is what I tell myself. Because for the first time, something outside my control has helped me waste my life instead of me being able to do so myself. The past decade, from 2010 to 2019, I was never really good at school, and I pretty much wasted most of my 20s and ended up dropping out of college. It was a pretty big failure at the time, and I ended up working a minimum wage work. I was very gloomy and depressed. I didn't have anything and lived with my parents. In my late 20s, I decided to go back to school because I really wanted to turn my life around. I majored in IT, and it very challenging, and sometimes I felt like quitting. In the end, it took about 4 years and I succeeded. I realized if I wanted to make changes with my life, I had to do so in small steps. I am definitely happier now than I was 6 years ago, but I wouldn't say I am a happy person. There are a lot of stress at work. In the end of the day, everybody got their own set of problems, even for the ultra-rich. I realized the key to be happy is to work hard and looking at my own fruits that I have harvested and not comparing myself to others. I think this is part of life. Every age has its own challenges. For young people, it is finding love and being successful. When you're older, I consider myself old from Bing browser perspective. You just want to be healthy and hope that you don't get any serious illnesses, cause at the end of the day, we forget how short of a lifespan we have in this world. And 99% of us, you the audience and I the narrator, we might not be alive by the next century. We will be bones with worms crawling where our broken heart was formerly. The larvae will be building a home to nest their young ones in what was formerly our brain, but now only a hollow skull. And even if you are able to escape death, by the end of the century, in the next you won't. And even after next, in the afterlife, you and I are just trophies. According to the Bible, the only goal of Satan is to get as many souls as he can, and God's goal is to save many souls as he can. So in the end, you and all of humanity are just objects, which have free will and depending on your will in this life, probably just in this century, because it is hard to make it to the next. Depending on our choices here on soil before we go in it. Our choices determine whose trophy we are to belong to. Is it Lucifer or God? But do not use my reasoning to escape reality. Remember, as much as you realize how insignificant you are to the scale of the world's reality, you still have to get a kickback for your time here on earth. And even as you compare yourself to others, remember, when most people say, I bought a house, it actually means they signed a 30-year contract to be slaves for the banks that actually own those houses. When most people say they are happily married, it is either a lie of they are in their honeymoon phase. When most people say they have a nice job, they are actually pissed by their boss, and if they are the boss, they are pissed by their employees, and on top of that are stressed over their company's performance. Another thing is that people for the most part tend to post their highlights, achievements, and other good things that happened in their life, leaving out all the bad. So when you look at what people have achieved through something like social media, you are comparing all their good to your whole life, which is both bad and good. Everyone has problems, and just because people aren't posting them on things like social media doesn't mean that they don't exist. So with what being said, comparing yourself to what others have achieved on things like social media doesn't seem like a fair comparison at all. Everyone has their own pace, but most of the time we forget about it. Remember, Warren Buffett made his first billion at 60 years old. KFC founder made his recipe at 65 years old, and in the same case, Nikola Tesla was a millionaire by 25, yet the last decade of his life, he lived in an abandoned hotel. So, all in all, nothing actually matters except you subscribing and liking the video. And in conclusion, be happy with what you have right now.